Let me arrange everything. Yes, I will open the admit. So, so I'm thinking to continue with those three diseases of the mind. I think you are fairly aware of the three diseases of the mind. And if you have contemplated, you discover, yes, these three diseases in the mind causes uh, all the suffering in our lives. So either we can continue to expand this or we stop for a while and after understanding the three diseases of the mind, that is what we say emotional dependence. Do you remember? Why don't I remember? I emotionally depend on everything. That's why I'm suffering. So, not a big deal. The moment we wake up, we are emotionally. And second is that results in sorrow and suffering. What you said, what you did not say. You should have said this, to the near and dear ones. No, you should have said like this. I know that you reacted that. You see, our entire life goes like this. We don't want to live in peace. No, you said this and I said this. You understand? So this is the delusion, the third disease. So I'm thinking that should we reflect on, are we worthy of suffering, sadness, and sorrow? Did you hear the question? Are we really worthy? We say, I have a worth. You did not recognize me, you insulted me, you reacted me. That also is a three diseases. So should we take up? Yes, let us take up. Are we really worthy of suffering, sadness, and sorrow? So, our question, based on the last few sessions today, is, are we worthy of suffering, sadness, and sorrow? And if I give you lessons with the sadness of the face, my eyes, will really you get anything? Or will I get anything if I'm so serious? So, our question is, are we worthy of suffering, sadness, and sorrow, which is the cause of the three mental diseases, which extends to eight factors? You have already understood that. Did you understand or not? Now, who cares? You don't know how sad I am in my life. That is what we are talking. Are we worthy of suffering? So, do you remember the alligator? Huh? Do you remember the alligator? Log of wood? So, that is what we are trying to understand. Are we worthy of suffering? You know what happens? You are always bubbling with the cheer and the smile and full of energy. And one day you are sad. So the guy you meet who says, what happened to you? What happened? Do you see that? Nothing happened. It is an alligator. Nothing more than the alligator. Think of this. And the guy, now see, the other guy who complains all the time, and there may be a friend nearby, near and dear to you, maybe a family member who wakes up and starts complaining. And one day he keeps very quiet, he has a big face. Then you say, what happened to this guy? There is no more complaint today. There is no more blame. What happened to this? So we are trying to understand. I have taken a deviation in this session and then we'll come back. Are we worthy of grief, blame, sadness, suffering? That is the question. Ask yourself. If not, then why you have a big face? No, let us understand the answer in a different way. What we gain by sadness, having a big face, complaint, reaction, and expecting from the other. Now, our question is, what we gain by sadness? And I'm very sad. Okay, be sad. Alligator, remember, it is because of that alligator. So those who show and express sadness, grief, blame, complain, are they worthy of doing so? When we love, we move with a smile and happiness, we can pass on. At least there is something worthy. Don't you see that? But are you ready to give sadness to others? My friend, I'm very sad. Kindly accept my sadness today. Sorrow and the suffering belongs to the past. That causes the sadness. Please accept my sadness. I'm very sad. I'm very sad. I will qualify to be a seeker. I will listen to you. You see? Are you getting anything by being sad? This sadness is the result of three diseases and an alligator. Are you understanding? Can you say like this, I'm very sad, I will attend your class? Better not attend. It is better, do not attend my session. Sadness, sorrow, and the suffering. Now comes the main principle. I'm going to say, don't forget this. Sadness, sorrow, and the suffering do not exist. And still, I have a long list of complaints. That is why I'm sad. That is why I grieve. That is why I blame. That is why I complain. But they do not exist. From where I took the story here. Are we worthy of suffering? But the sadness do not exist. Sorrow do not exist. They exist in my mind because of alligator. Do you see that? Think of this, contemplate. I'm not teaching from my own, I'm teaching from the great master Krishna. It exists because of attachment and detachment on one side and delusion on the other side. If I will be sad before you guys, you will have sympathy on me. That sympathy is also coming from the same three diseases. I'm expecting something. It exists because of expectations. Expectations met, pleasure then more expectation, and then more expectation. And then the honey says, "You are crossing a limit, my." And oh, I'm crossing a limit. I'm your honey. I'm your friend. Honey means I'm your friend. We have to understand this. Are we worthy of suffering, sadness, grief? Answer is no, because they do not exist. That is the declaration by the Krishna. I know some of you might be thinking, what a crazy Krishna is. That is also coming from three mental diseases. That we need to understand. Expectations not met, frustration, and frustration leads to sadness. I met with a beautiful woman in the India, and she loved me, always hugged me, she respected me. But only one thing. Every time she says, "I know I love you, you guide me." But she's always started blaming and complaining her husband. 5 years passed. I said, what to do? If someone loves you, it is better to keep near keep those people near. So at last, I gave her a name. I said, "You are a goddess of sorrow and sadness and big face and suffering." So every time she used to come, I said, "You are a goddess of sorrow and suffering. What is your blame and complaint? What is the reason of your sadness?" Keep in your mind. You need not to believe me. You have to contemplate and reflect and come to a conclusion that this sadness, grief, suffering do not exist. And they exist because of the three diseases. And that takes you to be in the grip of alligator. Huh? Did I tell you alligator? Do you remember that? Two hands, desire fulfilled, other is desire not fulfilled. Two legs, delusion, loss of memory. And the big tail is loss of intelligence. This now she is not no more. Now she is no more. She died. And she always said, "Everything is right, what you are saying, but I'm sad." Everyone praised her. Intelligent women, but always has a higher expectation, sadness, sorrow, and this. See from the other point of view what master slaps on our face. Krishna slaps. I'm not saying anything. Remember this. So don't be offensive. Sometimes we react. So please don't. Krishna says wise people do not grieve, do not become sad, do not have a big face. What is your opinion about yourself? Are you intelligent? Are you intelligent? He directly says those who grieve continue to live into the sadness, sorrow, and the suffering are fool. I'm using his word. I'm not saying anything. Sorrow includes anger, agitation, sadness. Now tell me, sadness give you any result? Find out. If I next time I will have a very big face and I will talk very seriously. Check. Will you get anything or will I get anything? It blows our mind. It makes you such a deeper understanding of your own mind. The moment your mind says you are sad and you have a smile on your face, because they do not exist. But they exist because of these three factors, three diseases and eight factors. Have you seen, I was contemplating and reflecting, so I got some idea. We had a Halloween, we bought a lot of candies. So instead of putting outside, we said, no, let me put minimum 10 candies to everyone. So we attracted more and more kids. It's a matter of joy. Why not? Now, now can you give sadness to someone? Can you give sadness to someone? So if you cannot give sadness to someone, why you are sad? No, no, I have lot of problem. I am very sad. Sadness, sorrow, suffering, grief are the results of these three diseases and eight factors, but they do not exist. If they exist in my mind, they will cause the problem. Are you getting it? So we will see each other. We will see one another in every session. You all are seekers. What a big deal. Now pay attention. Pay attention. Sadness is very much related to expectation. Deeply, closely related to expectation from others. Can you get me a glass of water when I come to your home? Yes, said yes, yes. Can you give me $1,000? So it is my expectation that give me $1,000. I did not measure my expectation whether it will be fulfilled or not. You don't give me $1,000 and then I am sad. Are you understanding? Are you getting that? Without measuring our expectation, we ask people. That is what the expectation is. Now, my mind in a delusion, oh, this guy has a big house. He is a millionaire. No doubt. Let me go to his house and ask for a donation. Even $10 he can't spare. Are you understanding that point? Deeper. I measure the expectation based on my delusion that a guy is a millionaire. So at least he can spare $1,000, but he's not ready to spare even $10. And you still try to convince. We still try to convince. You see, it is a very good project. Your sorrow and sadness will go away. Nobody wants to spare. Are you worthy of sadness, sorrow, grief, suffering? Ask yourself. If yes, stop attending the session. If no, continue to attend the session to reach to a point where your mind says, no more, no more delusion, no more attachment, no more sorrow, sadness, and suffering. Huh? I gave two examples. Can you give me a glass of water? Yes, I can give you. So I expected from you to give me a glass of water, a bottle of water. Yes. Now, I created a delusion in my mind that you will definitely spare something for me, but you don't spare. That's why I gave an example, millionaire and 1,000 bucks and 10 bucks. But you're not ready. You manipulate. So you manipulate. I understand, and I become sad. Look at this guy. There's so much money. He can't spare. Replace money with lot of other things in your relationship. Don't you have a time to spare for me? It's not money. Am I worthy of suffering? That is the question. Am I worthy to be sad? Tell me, who is worthy of being sad? Behind it, three factors, alligator. Understand it practically, pragmatic, practical approach. Why sadness? Krishna says foolishness. No, don't be offensive. I'm not pointing anyone. I'm explaining the principle. So, grief, sadness, foolishness. You see, that is why I used to give an example of our great genius, Bill Gates. Great genius, a millionaire, but sad. Do you see? Can you relate it? Is what delusion is. We are sad continuously, days after days, and do you ever say that I'm very sad today, I will eat more? Find out the benefits. Come on, find out the benefits. I'm grieving, so today I will earn more. Find out the benefit. Do you ever say that? Unnecessary. No. I'm very sad. Look at the when we are a seeker, then only we are able to tolerate these teachings. If you are not a seeker, if you tell anyone, they will say he is crazy. The entire modern psychology says yes, sadness is a disease, but they don't know the root cause of it. See, we know the root cause. Why? Sadness, grief, suffering. One side holding attachment, other side holding delusion. We are squeezed. Sadness do not exist. It is hollowness of the mind due to these two factors. And did I tell you? Sadness depends on emotional dependence. Dependence means expectation. And expectation, I have already given two examples. I do not know how much to expect from the world in a given situation. Let me repeat it. How much to expect from the world in a given situation. With a person, I give totally a free session on Thursdays. Thursdays in the evening for because of Anne. Anne supported me so much, and including Barbara during my difficult times. So I said, let me give it. So one woman wrote to me, how much I owe you. We understand it, but we don't say. I said, how much, I sent her an email, how much I should expect from you. As far as the teaching is concerned, what is the worth of my teaching? Based on this, I will expect. He never responded. Why we are angry, agitated? Because of expectation. Why there is an expectation? It results into sadness because of these three factors. You may be a millionaire, but you cannot spare. So I should understand. My expectation is wrong. I'm living in a delusion. Not talking of a millionaire in the sense that how much I should expect from a partner, from a brother, from a sister, from a sibling. That demands your discernment and dispassion. Are you getting it? Look at it. You are free. Over expectation, you realize, I'm sorry. Thank you. Don't pay me. Continue. No, for example, just an example. Are we worthy of sadness, suffering? Ask yourself. Have you seen tiger is sad? Have you seen the buffaloes are sad? Are you getting it? Are we worthy of suffering? So Krishna hits clearly. What is the now the last point worth contemplating and reflecting, my friend? Are we worthy of sadness? Are we worthy to be angry? Are we worthy to be agitated? You see that you are learning anger management also. You are learning anxiety management also. But we are a seeker, so we are continuing our journey. Are we worthy of sadness? Let us examine, be very practical, pragmatic. We use the words, but I wonder whether we really digest it or not. Be pragmatic, right? Right? Okay. What is the object of sadness? Tell me. Your honey. Leave your honey immediately. If he or she is an object of your sadness, there is no object of sadness. If the honey is the object of sadness, you are the subject of sadness. Do you see that? Are you getting it? We are going a little deeper. Object of sadness does not exist in the world. And you become the subject of sadness. That is the delusion. Are you getting it? Did you understand that? Object of my sadness that I don't have money. Can you show me the sadness in the money? Then I have a reason to be sad. This is what I'm saying. No, I give example of honey. It doesn't mean that it is always honey. Are you getting it? Say, I am a subject of sadness. No, I'm very sad. Why? Stephen is not listening to me. Example. Now it means Stephen is the object of sadness. Can I brand Stephen as an object of sadness? Where is sadness? Are we worthy of suffering? Why don't you have a smile then? It's a very deeper. Eastern wisdom is not easy. If we are committed, sincere, then now I present you, I respect you, I fold my hands. And we all are at equal level. You receive something, I receive something. And if I'm sad, you are sad. I'm not ready to take your sadness. Do whatever you want to do. So that's why, with that beautiful woman, I branded her, I gave her a name, Goddess of Sorrow, Suffering, Sadness, so that I can keep a distance. Did you understand that point? Last point, and then we'll do. This object of sadness does not exist in the world, but I become the subject of sadness. Well, today I little bit deviated. I gave you a higher principle. That sorrow, that sadness is misconception, that is delusion, that is wrong notion. Okay, you are sad and you express that I'm very sad today. Give me 2 pounds of sadness. Give me 2 pounds of sadness, every day until it is done. Unnecessary. We are making our life crazy. Unnecessary. Why unnecessary? Because we do not understand. Why we do not understand? Because of delusion. So what Eastern wisdom says, have a right knowledge. Remove the ignorance. Sorrow is subjective. If it is really subjective, it means it belongs to you. You have it. Give me 2 pounds, maybe 3 pounds. No, whatever I can tolerate. But if you say if you have 100 pounds of sorrow, that is what Krishna says. Wise do not have a sorrow. You claim you are wise and still you are doing foolish things. Last point, conclusion. Sadness and sorrow are not the properties of any person, any place, any event, any situation. Are you getting it? Look at the subtle understanding of the Krishna. This sadness, sorrow, grief, not the property of any object, any person. Can you brand yourself that it is my property? There are two meanings of property. Properties, physical. Can you tell me sadness and sorrow and suffering are your properties? Tell me. No. So if no, and still you believe, it is delusion. From today, if you are sad, sorrow, and suffering, then I will allow me to give you a name, Mr. Sad and Mrs. Sad, or Miss Sad. Yeah? Mr. Sadness, Miss Sadness. No, we have Miss Universe, so we should have Miss Sad or Miss. What is very important to understand? You start with and contemplate and reflect today. Anytime the mind says, I am very sad, am I worthy of suffering? Am I worthy to grieve? Am I worthy? No, pain is physical, no problem. At a physical level, it's a pragmatic. I have a headache, let me take pills. Or let me do the breathing. Yeah. I'm hungry, let me eat my food. But where is sadness? Where is? What kind of a pill? When the mind, we have to awaken the intellect, we have to contemplate and reflect. Look at the beautiful journey of this Eastern West. Then we understand what exactly is awakening, And what is end of suffering? So let us start our journey.